Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Real Spit. This is where you get hit, bam, with the real spit. This is life advice unfiltered. And I just want to ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation when the customer service has been absolutely horrendous? Like when you've been belittled, when the waiter or waitress looks down upon you and kind of snarls, or you're on the phone with your telecommunications company and they kind of give you a major attitude and it triggers something in you. You know, you ever gone to the gym and at the front desk, they looked at you like, oh, your membership isn't this, that, and other. And then so the way they talk down to you, you feel like you want to pop someone in the face, right? That's what we're going to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Cause and effect, and what happens in between is your character. All right, so before we get into that, we're going to do our ritual. We're going to set the tone with the hearthstone. Digging deep, digging clear. Bam! Faith. We got to have faith, ladies and gentlemen. I think this ties hand in hand with character, because sometimes if you don't have faith, you don't know your character. So let's just go through this episode and see how faith is going to end up emerging into what we have to talk about today. Keep the faith, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about character, cause, and effect. All right. Einie, you ready to go to work? Looks like he's doing his thing. All right. So I talk to my acting students a lot of times, and then we always talk about character, right? We put a lot of emphasis on how to build character, how to get into character, et cetera, et cetera. We do all this research as actors. What we do is like, you know, if it's a period piece, we look at the period, we look at the time, we look at the society, we look at the class structure, we look at the psychology of our character, and we pour all of this wonderful stuff in there to build our character. And it's great, and actors are really, really good at it. And if they don't do that, they should do more of it. So that's what we do in the classroom. We figure out ways to expand our character. But oftentimes what we do not do is we don't even put the same energy into trying to understand our own character. What is the composition of who you are as an individual? Have you, especially my actors out there, you played 100 different characters, and you've poured a lot of time and energy into understanding that. But have you done any kind of self-reflection? Have you done the same work for yourself? Have you thought about your primary scenario, or when you were born, and the different type of things that have affected you in your life to build who you are as a character? And more importantly, is the character that you are authentic? Are you really you? Like, are you really walking around being the person that you truly are? Or are you some kind of lamination of what society says that you are? You know what I mean? Maybe your parents have said, you know, oh, Johnny, he's always good with money. So then somehow you became good at money. Or, oh, Lisa, she's always late. Or she's always the dramatic one, et cetera, et cetera. So you kind of became dramatic even though that wasn't really your truth. Well, today we're going to take a look at cause and effect, action and reaction. And what happens in between there is what determines your character. So let's go back to the beginning when we said you're going to the gym and all of a sudden a new person is at the gym and they don't recognize you and they talk down to you. And it's like, oh, well, you're not popping up in the machine or whatever. And they give you attitude, or the waitress or whoever is talking down to you. The DMV person is looking at you like you're a piece of scum, whatever. And if you line up 10 different people with that same person, you're going to get 10 different reactions. And that different reaction is those individuals' character. And since a lot of our show is about trying to be authentic, we want to kind of reveal what is our truth in our reactions to things. So we have action and we have reaction, and in between there is your character. How you respond, right? Because you got the makeup of things. So even if you take a look at it from a scientific point of view, you got this coffee here, right? You got the weight of this, and you got this thing here. When I set this down, it is the composition of whatever this cup is hitting this particular thing That right here is the character of this. The character is made by the things that are already set. So I want you all to reflect on moments where something has happened to you, mainly adversity, and how do you respond to it? And if you respond in a natural and organic way, then you might be closer to your own truth. But let's say you overreact. Let's say that you get upset at that person at the front desk because of whatever the reasons. There's usually something underneath that. And what's underneath that is something that's usually tied to an injury that you've had in your life. So it's not the current moment necessarily. It's the current moment is triggering a past trauma or a past belief that you might have, right? So let's say you were kind of brought up and you were, told that, Mexicans and blacks are, they're shady characters. So then you might be in a situation when you're in an elevator with a black man or a Latina woman and you're like, oh my God, I got to clutch my purse. That right there is something, a belief style that's coming through in that particular moment because of the cause and reaction. You clutching for your purse is part of your character that is stemmed to and attached to a particular belief system or behavior or trauma that you may experience. So there's a lot more to say about this, but right now I just want you to settle on that and go off into the world. And whenever there is something happening to you, in that moment before you respond, I just want you to think about who you are and if that response is true and organic. Is it authentically you? Something to think about. Something to think about. Ah.